Hi, this is Dominique from Your Home Imagined. Today we're going to cover security deposits, move-in inspections, and move-out inspections. Why inspections are so important. What should you be looking for when doing an inspection? Is a pre-move-out inspection necessary? And final move-out inspections and return of the security deposit. Below in the description, there will be a link where you can request a sample inspection checklist. Please remember, I am not a lawyer. This is not legal advice and is always recommended to consult a lawyer to ensure you comply with the state and local laws and regulations. It is assumed that a new tenant will be paying a security deposit. Although there are alternatives you may want to investigate. That's a topic for another day. The security deposit can be a maximum of 2 months' rent, unless the unit is furnished, and then it's 3 months. Now, if all of the tenants are service members, then you can only charge 1 month's rent of security deposit. It only takes one tenant to not be a service member to be able to request the 2 months. When a property owner is returning a tenant's security deposit, it must be returned within 21 days after a tenant has vacated the premises. If agreed upon between the property owner and the tenant, in writing, the security deposit can be returned electronically. Now, the idea of a security deposit is to reassure the property owner that they can be reimbursed for any default in rent or damages to the property once the tenant has moved out. If the property owner wants to be able to claim for any security deposits to be held back, there must be several steps taken. The first step would be to make a move-in inspection when the tenant first moves in. Although it is not mandatory, it is difficult to prove what condition the unit was in when the tenant moved in if you do not conduct a move-in inspection, including photos and the checklist signed by the tenant. This is also a good time to instruct the tenant on how to correctly operate appliances, heating and cooling system, and also confirm that everything is functioning properly. You should make a list of any final repairs that may be needed. Many people do not understand the importance of this move-in inspection until they are standing in front of a judge. Don't let this be you. Things you should make sure to document and photograph for your inspections for standard conditions are flooring and carpet, conditions of walls and paint, doors, windows, and screens. Most people don't realize when the screens are missing or torn. This is a common issue. Window coverings, drapes, shutters, and blinds, appliances. Check the ceiling for any water stains. Check the bathroom sink cabinets and drawers. Make sure the water heater is lit and functioning. Make sure there's no water leaks, no running toilets or dripping faucets. Heating and air is functioning and the tenants know how to use it. Make sure there's no exposed wires anywhere and all electrical covers on plugs and switches are present. And the one thing to remember is landscaping and sprinklers. You should take a picture of the sprinklers turned on to make sure they're all working and have proof. Make sure to photograph everything that is damaged and in good condition. The property owner needs to be able to prove that the unit was in good, clean condition when the tenant moved in. Once final notice has been given, there are several things the property owner and tenant are responsible for before the tenant moves out. There are specific procedures that a property owner must follow for refunding the security deposit. Between the time of notice and the end of the lease, the property owner shall notify the tenant in writing of the tenant's option to request the pre-inspection, including the tenant's right to be present at the inspection. If the tenant chooses to do a pre-inspection, it must happen within the last 2 weeks of tenancy. The purpose of the pre-inspection is to give the tenant time and notification to correct any repairs or deep cleaning that is needed to put the unit back into original move-in condition and keep any deductions from their deposit. What are things that the property owner can deduct from the security deposit? That would be any unpaid rent, cleaning to bring the unit back to the condition of move-in, repairs for damages other than normal wear and tear that are caused by the tenant or guest. That's where the move-in inspection is extremely important. The property owner must be able to demonstrate the condition of the unit when the tenant moved in, and be able to prove that any damages were not there. The tenant will almost always say it was like that. I didn't do it. Photographs of every inch of the unit in your move-in inspection is very important because you never know what might be damaged. If the tenant chooses to do a pre-final inspection, this inspection is made so the tenant has an opportunity to correct any issues that the unit may have. So it is not deducted from their security deposit. There will still be an additional inspection at the time of move out to make sure that everything has been corrected to proper standards. The tenant's idea of move-in condition and the property owner's may be different. Once the inspections have been completed and the tenant has moved out, it is now time to refund the security deposit. The property owner has to have the security deposit refunded back to the tenant within 21 days. If the full security deposit is not refunded, the property owner must include an itemized statement, copies of bills, invoices, and receipts. Contact information for the people or companies that completed the repairs and cleanings, material or supplies, hours of labor, and rate charge. If the property owner completed the work themselves or an employee of the property owner, then they must still provide receipts for all materials, the number of hours worked, and the reasonable hourly rate. If the amount deducted from the security deposit is less than $125, then the property owner does not have to include receipts automatically, but must produce them if the tenant requests. The tenant has 14 days after receiving their security deposit to request the itemized statements and receipts. I always recommend doing inspections with the tenant present. That way you can show them specifically what the issues are. Upon completing each inspection, go over the checklist with the tenant and have them initial or sign that they understand what the issues are and that they agree with the conditions reported. You should also use the same inspection checklist for all 3 inspections so that it is side by side with the changes and the tenant's understanding. Security deposits are never non-refundable. There must be justifiable reasons to keep the deposit, and a property owner needs to be able to prove that the tenant was responsible. The property owner can be liable for up to twice the amount of the security deposit, in addition to actual damages. It is the property owner who has the burden of proof as reasonableness of the amount claimed. If the property owner has not conducted proper inspections, including photos, there's a good chance that they would lose in a court of law. And the return of the security deposit is the most common disagreement between property owners and tenants. Now, if you're looking for a property management company in the Temecula, Menifee, Lake Elsinore Triangle, please reach out to us. You can like, subscribe, or comment. Let me know if there's any topics you would like me to cover. Thank you for watching.